pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll begin the meeting with a moment of silence. This meeting is being recorded and televised by the local cable company. A motion to approve bill and payroll warrants.
So moved?
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion to accept correspondence in the read file.
So moved?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Public forum. Anyone here who would like to, who's not on the agenda that would like to speak? Don't all jump at once. Approval of meeting minutes, open session, March 7th, 2017.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. I abstain.
Okay. It's close enough to 7:05. We have a public meeting with respect to the application of Columbia and Associates of Whitman Incorporated, doing business as the Knights of Columbus, Cardinal Spellman Council number 347, for a change of manager in connection with the all-alcohol club liquor license on the premises located at 1195 Bedford Street. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Okay, this is our second time with this. It was approved originally on January 10th, 2017, but there were some details that had to be worked out, and Larry Roach is here, basically by his presence testifying that everything has been worked out. If we approve this, then everything will be fine, and we'll send the application to the ABCC.
Okay, not a problem.
Was there a motion?
Chairman,
Yes.
Yes.
could I just,
Sure.
say
my guest.
that I'd like to thank Larry Roach, 26 Acorn Road. I would just like, for the record, to say I'd like to thank Lori O'Brien for all the help in getting this finally through. I think without her guidance and assistance, we'd probably still be wandering around. So I just...
Wandering around in the desert?
Yeah.
Okay.
So for the record, thank you, Lori.
She's at home watching.
And thank you, Larry. It's been moved and seconded, has it?
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. No business. Act on the request of the town clerk, Don Varley, to appoint checkers for the annual and special town meetings to be held on Monday, May 1st, 2017.
So moved?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Act on the request of the Whitman Recreation Commission for an expenditure in the amount of $4,500 from the World War II Memorial Field Fund for the purpose of replacing the fence around the basketball street and hockey court located behind the police station.
So moved.
Is there a second? Anyone have any questions?
Yeah, Frank, there is I didn't know that there was one. World War II Memorial Field Fund?
This is the second item on the new business, Frank.
The World War II Memorial Field Fund has been around since that field was designated.
Ah,
There isn't a lot of money in it, and we've used it very conservatively. And press is being denied comments. We use that when no other funding is available because it's a finite amount of money and we really don't want to spend it down.
okay.
I think there's about 18,000 in it.
Okay.
Anyone else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Take action to appoint Denise Bagley to the position of member of the Council on Aging for a 3-year term through June 30th, 2017, in order to fill an existing vacancy.
So moved?
Second.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion?
I do have a question. Frank, can you tell me, are there any other openings on that? council?
That would be the one vacancy
The one
right now.
vacancy? Okay, thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Act on the recommendation of Chief Benton to appoint Nicholas J. Fiscaldo and Michael D. White to the position of Auxiliary Special Police Officer through June 30th, 2017.
So moved?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Act on the disclosure of appearance of conflict of interest as required by General Law, Chapter 268A, Section 23B3, for Recreation Director Oliver Amato.
Mr. Chairman, this vote is no longer necessary. The conflict has been eliminated.
Fine, pass it over. Next, accept the gift of a baby grand piano. Lisa?
Lisa, you giving us a piano?
Yes, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Earlier last week, we had received a donated piano. Fred Gilmetti donated a baby grand piano to the town of Whitman on behalf of the Regan family. Irene Regan, who was a resident of Whitman for 50 years, passed away in 2007. Anyway, this baby grand piano, it is a Henry Miller piano. Henry Miller established a factory in Wakefield, Massachusetts back in 1862. The piano is estimated to be built somewhere between 1910 and 1915, so at this point it's a little over 100 years old.
Wow.
It has, very unique, it's mahogany, Victorian, has ivory keys, which you can no longer get, brass strings and innards, from what I understand. The piano is showing its age, although it is quite beautiful. It's in the auditorium at this moment, and I'm going to look into foundations and maybe seek a grant from a foundation who would like to help us restore the piano.
Nice.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Need a motion to accept?
Nice job.
Sure.
I'll
Motion to
make a
accept.
Motion to accept that, the gift.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Mass DEP Recovery Program. Lisa?
Yes, the Department of Environmental Protection has come out with its Sustainable Materials Recovery Program grants, which is associated and authorized under the Green Communities Act and the Mass DEP regulations. I am going to be beginning the application process to look into some programs they surround recycling and reducing our waste. I'm going to be beginning that process to see what rewards and awards Whitman would be entitled to as far as in money grants, so that we can continue to reduce our waste and recycle.
Okay, any questions? Oh, Lisa? Okay. Vote to issue the annual and special town meeting warrants. Frank?
Yes, as I mentioned before, I was working on these right up until this afternoon. This whole budget has been a moving, living item. The special town meeting warrant is prepared for publication. We have 10 articles on it, all relating obviously to fiscal year 2017. The annual town meeting warrant has right now I say about because I expect a couple of these are going to come off, 65 articles. The Finance Committee is meeting with the schools right now to discuss some of the articles that I am not recommending due to a lack of funding. I'm asking the board to issue the special town meeting warrant and to authorize the annual town meeting warrant with the understanding that some of these articles will be removed prior to publication.
Okay, so move.
Is there a motion to do both?
Yeah.
Both authorize and issue.
Yep.
Second.
Anyone have any questions of Frank?
Frank, yes. I talked to the chairman of the FinCom. He was in the office. He said that that they're done with Article 2, and depending on the items that are in the annual town warrant as far as capital projects, that they're able to give a pretty good size percentage to the operating budget for Whitman Hanson. I think they were saying, do you remember what it was?
What has been voted is $12,064,192. That's a budget increase of $1,441,007. I had a discussion with the superintendent this morning. We talked about what we have pegged for an appropriation. She is of the belief that unless we're able to come up with need my glasses. $12,119,787, which represents a 9% increase. They're going to need to seek funding through a override. I have asked the schools to work with us to come up with what's minimally acceptable to avoid putting the town in an override position for the schools, because frankly, I think next year's budget is going to be tougher, and there's going to have to be a lot of analysis and education directed toward next year's budget. I think going for an override for $400,000 this year is not going to solve the problem.
Okay, my issue is, if they will not accept that amount that the Finance Committee is recommending at town meeting, and if in fact there is, they can actually talk about going for the full amount, and town meeting votes it, and we don't have specifications, we don't vote to have an override for that budget on our election, we're gonna end up cutting budgets of other departments. And that, I don't wanna be in that position.
We're 36, we're 55,000 away from what they're saying would enable them to carry them through the year. I'd like to at least have some dialogue on that before we make any determination. We already have a request for an override from the fire chief.
Okay?
And that override is, if I have the right page, I can tell you. $310,000. It's 309 and change,
Okay.
but it wouldn't make sense to do that.
Right.
It would be $310,000. In order to hire the 3 additional firefighters he's proposing, we would need to increase the levy limit to do that. There's an article on the annual that seeks that override for $310,000.
All right, so
We're
okay.
Going to have to vote tonight to call for an override. We cannot vote an unspecific amount. Part of the vote for the ballot question is to see if the town will vote to authorize to raise an additional $310,000 in taxes.
Right.
If the schools decide at a later date, i.e. tomorrow, to have another amount in an override, it's going to have to be on a different election. Because there's no way to put them together.
Or we go to town meeting and something of a capital project that we might have approved, we would, and since Article 2 was done prior to the warrant, there may be, if there's like a $60,000 difference, there may be an article that we are recommending as far as a capital project for the schools that we may have to turn around and say, because of the fact that there's an increase in the school's budget and that town meeting voted to approve it, in order to balance the budget, we'd have to vote against this, take this off the ballot. You know what I'm saying? You're robbing Peter to pay Paul. If we get an article that that the schools may have a $50,000 capital project for a school, and the budget comes $50,000 over Article 2 because the schools wouldn't accept what we gave them, that means that we have to ask town meeting to say, please vote against this capital project.
That's part of the discussion.
Yeah.
That's part of the discussion that'll happen tonight.
Okay.
And then tomorrow at the school committee meeting. But the whole point of this is we don't have a specific amount. I don't know whether the override question will be the difference between the assessment of 12,119 and 12,743, because that's the scale that was set up when this budget was first presented. And I recognize that the school department is making an effort to find a way to make this work.
Okay.
The superintendent feels that if we can come up with that additional $56,000, she will be able to reconfigure things in such a way that this year, they will not have to lay anyone off. That's what they're working toward. But it also means some other programs are cut. It's not, they're not crying wolf, it's real issues. But at the same time, we have issues in other departments as well. I mean, the fire chief has agreed to withdraw a couple of articles that we talked about in an effort to increase the amount of money available in Article 2 for funding the fire department. Police chief has withdrawn an article, or maybe one or two. But there are public safety issues that we are going to act on. You know, the radios was something up for discussion. It's a public safety issue. So as you go through these things, it's a balancing act right now. It's how close can we come, and is it enough to work? If it isn't, then the school department will have to do what it feels is necessary. I'm hoping that we can put this together with spit and rubber.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Question, if they decide they want to go with going with an override, what is, and we have to have a second election after our May election, typically what does one of those elections cost to run?
Round figure, $6,000.
And do we have to have a town meeting to call for an override?
Only the Board of Selectmen can call
Yeah.
for an override.
Anything else? Okay, well, we have two things up for vote right now. Authorizing the annual town meeting warrant with the understanding that some of those articles may be withdrawn, and issuing the special town meeting warrant.
So
I
moved.
think they've been moved and seconded.
Yep.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Right.
I would ask now that the board, in consideration of the request for the fire department override, vote the following motion to be placed on the ballot. Shall the town of Whitman be allowed to assess an additional $310,000 in real estate and personal property taxes for the purpose of funding staffing at the Whitman Fire Department for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2017.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that exhausts new business. Old business. Take action on the application of Keith A. Gutierrez, doing business as Ace Transporter, for a livery license and livery driver's certificate on the premises located at 146 South Avenue, number 19, subject to receipt of license fees. Frank, you have an update on this?
Regrettably, Mr. Chairman, he has not responded. He had a third party deliver a copy of the license, but we have not had an opportunity to meet with him. I would ask that this be tabled.
Okay, is there a motion to table?
Motion to table.
Second.
All those in favor?
And as a result of that, I'm going to ask that the board vote to rescind the license that was approved on March 7th, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. You answered my question before I asked it.
Okay, next item on the agenda is to discuss the hearing date for O'Toole's Pub. Frank?
Yes, after checking on dates, it appears that May 9th is the date that the board and our council will be available for the hearing. It is a date that was discussed with the attorney for O'Toole's, so I would say that's the date if the board votes to set that date for the hearing.
Okay, and the only thing that we'll be doing that night is having that hearing, correct? Is there a motion?
So moved?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, round the board. Brian, do you have anything for the good of the cause?
Do not. Sorry.
Amazing, huh?
Dan,
I do not.
nothing?
Nothing.
Nada?
Nada.
Nada? Guys are so quiet. I don't have anything. We need to go into, we need to go into executive session in accordance with Mass General Law 30, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Exception 2, to discuss strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel. And number 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on that.
So moved.
Second. Yes.
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 Okay, we're in executive session. We'll go back to open session only to adjourn.